I think it would be great to have just a long conversation, long conversations that you could go on or among friends, to like figure these things out. What does it mean to talk just to talk? Don't do that.
Let's waste an hour and a half of our time.
Nobody ever accused me of that.
I think we should have side room professionals during next week. Splice into the.
That would be hilarious.
Awesome,
this is what I was thinking at this time.
What is a side room confession?
Just like on all those reality shows, they have like cutaways to like individual people sitting in usually like a small closet kind of thing with the
What
camera.
they thought about the
They're like,
situation.
Oh, yeah.
Their own personal inputs before everyone else sees it.
I couldn't believe that he just said that.
I was so shocked. She's shocked. Okay, continuing on. What are we on?
Conflict.
Type of learning, what's important? Well, we sort of covered that in style of learning, okay? Conflict management.
Conflict
You
management.
brought that up.
I did. It's interesting in this class that the types of conflicts that do get brought up because everyone has a different opinion on things, and usually in your typical classroom setting, we don't have discussions, inner dialogue between students. It's the teacher professing, the material covered for the day, and but in this class, there's several. I remember specific several different conflicts that we had to go and work through, which is interesting. Conflict resolution, and I've used that application basically applied in this class, and you've seen me do it for the solar car situation, for some of the stuff that we've gone through, which is really cool. Eventually reflect on and look back at, and which is why I'm the president.
I'm going to shut the door just a second.
I think every class has group work, but if that group is failing to work together, usually someone will just step up and do the project and it'll get done. Everyone will get the grade, but here it's more open, and if something's messing up, it's going to mess up the whole organization. So other people focus in on that and make sure that's functioning.
It's true.
I think that the environment and the structure for this class with the rankings and especially with the memos, I think that created a lot of conflict. Like I know several times you brought in, this person wrote this, and I brought in stuff, this person, and you brought in, this person wrote here, and and then you're bringing a conflict in here, and then we're talking about it in front of the class, and then we're all using things that we learned, to try and deal with that. And I thought that was cool. I got to, get in conflicts with a lot of people and work that out with those people, and try to use some of the things I learned. Not always, great, but it was interesting, that I could apply and learn a lot of things from that. Like I know when we were arguing, it was like I was upset at Steve for all these things that he was doing, and then I was turning around and like doing the exact same things, and it's just funny, to actually get to see that, and learn from that. Whereas, normally, I don't think I would do that. I'd just be like, no, he's a jerk, and that's that, just cut him, whatever. And I think that's, normally how people deal with situations.
Yeah, generally, there's a lot of conflict in organizations, and it's kind of kept under the surface.
Right.
And if it blows up, it's everybody runs away and is afraid of it. So what I try to do is deliberately bring that to the surface. And you probably saw me during the semester every now and then asking questions that I knew, I could tell there was some kind of conflict, and I'm trying to bring it out, because you have to learn to manage it. And if you can't talk about it, you're not going to be able to manage it. And that's really important when you guys go on to work in organizations, is to be able to talk about these issues and then work through them instead of just covering them up, because they'll fester.
Right.
Yeah, so I like to provoke from the sort of backbench.
And writing the memo, the individual memos, when we could, after the week is over, we state what happened, and then reflect upon what happened, and then you get to see however all the other people in class view their interactions that caused or created the conflict too. And so we had all sorts of discussions about all that type of material and working through it, using nonviolent communication, which is, and even advocating, illustrating, acquiring. It's the three steps that we really have tried to go through to make sure we follow every time we have conflict.
That was probably, if anything, this was a huge communications class. Because, like you were saying, you'd come to class, something would happen, and everybody would write about it in their memo. And then someone would talk about it, whenever they reviewed the memos. And it's like if you said something that upset somebody, and then they wrote about it, and you read about it, and you read about it, and then and it's so, you got to keep communicating without trying to make someone mad, and it's pretty hard to do that, because it's like you're already there, and then you both got to keep talking about it until you get it figured out or worked out or whatever. So it was interesting. I thought it's non-violent communication.
And then trying to get those the not forming the biases against people is probably one of the toughest things to do in this class, because we're so used to forming some sort of bias at the beginning. Even when we meet someone, your first impression is a bias of someone, and usually the first impression, you implement that into your mind, and then you expect them to do it the same the next time around. Well, in this class, we're trying to be taught that is not the right approach to doing things, and trying to get through that is something that it challenges a lot of people.